Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Denver, we need to talk. Because right now, 3 states away, in a quiet practice facility in Thousand Oaks, California, a 35-year-old man who has not played an NFL snap in more than 2 years just laced up his cleats, ran through pass rush drills, and walked off the field gassed, completely out of breath. And that one workout has sent shockwaves through the entire league. Because that man is Aaron Donald, arguably the most dominant defensive tackle of this generation, and there is a very real chance he is about to unretire and strap back into a Los Angeles Rams uniform. If that happens, the team standing in the Broncos' way this season just got a whole lot scarier. So buckle up, Broncos country, because today we are breaking down the single biggest threat to Denver's season, exactly how they could still be neutralized, and why, when the dust settles, this Broncos roster has exactly what it takes to walk into that fire and walk out the other side. Before we get into it, if you have not already, smash that subscribe button and hit the like icon right now. Because this channel lives and dies on this community showing up, and today's breakdown is one you do not want to miss. Let's start with the news that has the entire NFL world buzzing. Aaron Donald retired after the 2023 season following a wild-card playoff exit, and by every account, he was content. He said he felt full, he said he felt at peace, and for 2 years he stayed on the sideline while the Rams rebuilt around him. But then Los Angeles made a move that changed everything, trading for reigning Defensive Player of the Year favorite Myles Garrett, a pass rusher who just set the single-season sack record while playing for a Cleveland team that could barely hold a lead. The moment that trade went through, insiders say Darnold started thinking. Then thinking turned into visiting the facility. Then visiting turned into working out with the team. And just this week, cameras caught him on the practice field running pass rush drills, looking winded walking off, but very clearly testing whether his body can still do this at a high level. ESPN's Adam Schefter went on the record and said Darnold told the team he wanted to go work out, see how he felt, see how he reacted, and Schefter's gut feeling is that Darnold ends up suiting up. Another insider, Jeremy Fowler, has been a little more cautious, saying Darnold has not made a final decision, but that both the team and the players seem to be leaning toward yes. Either way, training camp opens in a matter of days, and if Darnold is going to be ready for Week 1, we should have our answer very soon. Now here is why every single person wearing orange and blue should care about a workout happening on the other side of the country. The Denver Broncos are scheduled to face this exact Los Angeles Rams team in Week 3 of the 2026 season. And if both teams take care of business, there is a very real chance these two clubs meet again in the biggest game of all, the Super Bowl. And if Aaron Donald is lined up alongside Myles Garrett, Kobe Turner, and Byron Young, that is not just a good defensive line anymore. That is one of the most terrifying front fours football has seen in years. Garrett alone put up numbers last season that make grown men wince. 60 tackles, 33 tackles for loss, 23 sacks, and the highest overall grade of any defensive player in the entire league, according to Pro Football Focus. Now imagine adding a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year to that same rotation, even in a reduced role. Opposing offensive coordinators are already losing sleep, and the Rams have not even confirmed Darnold is playing yet. And it is not just the defense that should make Broncos fans nervous. This Rams offense is not just good, it is historically dominant. Last season, Los Angeles finished first in the entire NFL in points per game, first in total yards per game, first in passing yards per game, first in points per drive, first in yards per play, and fewest sacks allowed. First in nearly every meaningful offensive category there is. Reigning MVP Matthew Stafford is throwing to a receiver room that reads like an all-pro roster on paper, headlined by Puka Nacua and future Hall of Famer Davante Adams, while Kyren Williams and Blake Corum form one of the more balanced running back duos in football. Sean McVay's offense thrives on play action out of under-center looks, using the run to set up big shots down the field. Put simply, on paper, the Rams look like the closest thing to a complete football team in the entire NFC, maybe in the entire league. So here is the moment where a lot of fan bases would throw their hands up and start doom-scrolling. Not us. Not Broncos country. Because here is the truth that gets lost in all the hype. The Rams are top-heavy. They have superstars, and they have superstars, and then things drop off fast. The Denver Broncos, on the other hand, do not have quite the same collection of household names at the very top, but this roster is deep from top to bottom in a way the Rams simply are not. And depth is exactly what wins football games in December and January when injuries pile up and the games start to matter most. So let's actually get into it. If the Broncos are going to walk into Los Angeles or wherever this showdown happens and come out victorious, here is exactly how they do it. Step 1, and this is non-negotiable, neutralize the run game before it ever gets started. It might sound strange to hear that the number one priority against a team led by an MVP quarterback is stopping the running backs, but that is exactly the point. Sean McVay's entire offensive identity is built around getting Matthew Stafford into easy, low-pressure throws off of play action. And that starts with establishing Kyren Williams and Blake Corum on early downs. Kyren is talented but has had real issues holding onto the football, and if Denver's front seven can force fumbles and stack the tackle box, Stafford stops getting the cushion he thrives on. Force this Rams offense into throwing the ball 40 or 50 times a game instead of feeding a balanced attack, and suddenly life gets a lot more uncomfortable for the man under center. And here is why that matters so much. Stafford, for all his talent, has a very real interception problem. Over the last 5 seasons, he has thrown 17, 8, 11, 8, and 8 interceptions respectively, which adds up to 52 picks in 5 years, an average of more than 10 a season. Make him throw the ball constantly, and sooner or later, he is going to give the ball back. Step 2 builds directly off of stacking that box, squeeze the perimeter, and play press coverage on the outside. Both Puka Nacua and Davante Adams are elite against zone coverage. In fact, Nacua led the entire NFL last season in yards per route run against zone looks, the only player in football to top 4 yards per route run against zone coverage, and Adams, even in the later stages of his career, still ranks inside the top 15 at that same metric. If a defense sits back in zone and gives these two free access to soft spots in the coverage, they will get shredded. That is exactly why Denver's defensive identity matters here. Vance Joseph's unit plays a heavy dose of man coverage, trusting cornerbacks to win one-on-one matchups rather than sitting back and reacting. Patrick Surtain II can lock down anybody in football, full stop, no notes needed there. But the corners on the other side of the field, names like Riley Moss and Jaquan McMillian, are going to need to bring their best press coverage of the season. Moss in particular was excellent for stretches last year, winning roughly 4 out of every 5 reps in press coverage, but the occasional big play he gave up cannot happen against this Rams receiver room. Eliminate the chunk plays, force Los Angeles to string together long, methodical drives instead of a few explosive shots, and the math starts tilting back in Denver's favor. Step 3 flips the script to the offensive side of the ball, and it starts with one simple rule. Never, ever leave Myles Garrett isolated on an island. There is no version of this game plan where Denver's offensive line matches up one-on-one with Garrett on every snap and comes out ahead more often than not. Garrett is coming off a season with 60 tackles, 33 tackles for loss, 23 sacks, and the highest 5th grade of any defender in football. Denver has arguably the best offensive line in the entire NFL, led by tackles like Garrett Bowles and Mike McGlinchey, and an interior anchored by Quinn Miners. And yes, there is a version of this matchup where Bowles wins his individual battle. But why gamble on that? The smarter approach is to chip Garrett constantly, bring extra protection from tight ends and running backs, and use heavier personnel groupings to take away his one-on-one opportunities altogether. Limit him, frustrate him, and make him work for every single pressure instead of letting him feast. Step 4, and this is where Bo Nix in this offense can really make Los Angeles pay, attack the Rams' zone coverage relentlessly. Los Angeles does not have a deep cornerback room. Yes, they added Trent McDuffie this offseason, and yes, he is a legitimate talent, but outside of him, this is not a unit built to survive extended one-on-one man coverage reps. That is exactly why the Rams ran the 4th highest zone coverage rate in the entire NFL last season, a number significantly higher than Denver's own rate of 63.1%. Teams that lean that heavily into zone are, more often than not, hiding a weakness rather than playing to a strength. The blueprint for beating zone coverage is well established. Identify a single defender, usually a cornerback, and force him to make a decision, whether that is biting on a shorter route and getting beat over the top, or sinking too deep and opening up an in-breaking route underneath. High-low concepts, flood routes, stop-and-go double moves, these are the exact tools that turn zone coverage from a safety net into a liability. For Bo Nix, the mandate is simple. Attack every level of the field, short, intermediate, and deep, and do not let this defense sit comfortably in coverage shells. With the addition of Jalen Waddle giving Denver another true home run threat alongside the existing receiving core, and with Nix continuing his ascension after a promising developmental stretch, this passing attack has more than enough juice to make the Rams pay for playing so much zone. Put all 4 pieces together, and a picture starts to form. Stack the box and make Stafford one-dimensional. Play press, not zone, and shut down the explosive plays that Nakua and Adams thrive on. Never let Garrett go one-on-one no matter how good your tackles are. And relentlessly attack the very coverage shell the Rams hide behind because their cornerback room cannot survive extended man coverage. None of this is easy. Nobody is pretending the Los Angeles Rams are anything less than one of the most talented, complete rosters in football, especially if Aaron Donald ends up putting the pads back on. This is a team many are already penciling in as Super Bowl favorites, and for good reason. But complete does not always mean unbeatable, and top-heavy rosters can be had by teams built with balance and depth from top to bottom, which is exactly what this Broncos roster has become under this coaching staff. So here is the reality Broncos country needs to sit with. Somewhere in Los Angeles right now, a future Hall of Famer is testing his 35-year-old body to see if he has one more run left in him. Purely because he looked at this Rams roster and this Garrett trade and could not resist the pull of a championship window. That should tell you everything about how good this Rams team believes it can be. But it should also tell you something else. This Broncos team and this Broncos defense and this Bo Nix-led offense are good enough right now to be the measuring stick that superstars are building their return around. When the best players in football are unretiring specifically because they see a path to beating you, that is not a reason to panic. That is a compliment. Week 3 cannot get here soon enough, and if these two teams cross paths again deeper into January, it is going to be an absolute war worth every second of hype. Whether Aaron Donald suits up or stays retired, the blueprint does not change. Neutralize the run, squeeze the perimeter, chip Garrett into oblivion, attack the zone. Do those 4 things, and Denver walks out of this matchup with a signature win that the entire league will be talking about. All right, Broncos country, that is the breakdown. If you are locked in for this season and you believe in this roster the way we do, drop a comment down below and let us know if you think Denver can actually go into Los Angeles and get this job done. Smash that like button if this video got you fired up, and if you have not subscribed yet, now is the time, because we have got a full season of breakdowns, reactions, and hype coming your way right here on Broncos. Until next time, Broncos country, stay locked in, and let's get ready.